Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, I have got a completely different episode for you guys tonight. We have hit a few episodes of Darwin Awards. You guys are getting an idea of what this is all about. It's fun to talk to people from all around the world and tease them over the dumb shit they've done, and that is the point of this. We all learn that, oh, I feel like I don't belong, or I'm not as smart as other guys because I've screwed stuff up, and we've all screwed shit up, and just don't realize that we just don't hear those stories. And that's what the point of the Darwin Awards is. However, I'm going to bring you a completely different episode tonight. I am excited for this one. I found somebody on the think tank, and he shared a story that he's just starting out. It's his first year, and he had his daughter with him. And it got me thinking, this is so perfect. This is exactly the right way to start this hobby. So I have invited in Sean Greenlee. Sean, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Vinny?
Good, good. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Good.
Greenlee.
I mean, because it's exactly spelled that way. I would sure assume so.
Nobody ever spells it correctly. They always put Ley or Ley or
They
Ly at
try
the end.
adding extra shit into
Yeah,
it.
it's just L-E, a lot of E's. It's hard to tell someone on the phone how to spell it because you feel like you're just but we eventually get through it. So
It's the same way with Vinny. They add all these other letters into it, and I just want to yell at them like, think of every famous Vinny you've ever known. They all spell it the same way.
right. Is
They
that how
they
it sounds? My cousin Vinny? Is that
Yep.
right?
It was Vinny in my cousin Vinny. Vinny Testaverde was Vinny. Um, and I say every famous Vinny. That's pretty much it. That's just
Yeah, I couldn't come up with too many other ones when
it's
you
me, Vinny Testaverde, and Joe Pesci. That's it.
that's a good crew. That's a good crew.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yep. So I happen to see if this is going to be an episode where I'm not going to do any teasing because I love what's going on. You shared a story on Facebook of you getting into this and you were kind of fiddling with X lights, whether for the first time or one of your first times or early on, and your
First time,
daughter was there tinkering it with you,
right?
and it got me into this story. Then I've tried to tell people this before that this hobby. Let's be honest, it's extremely time consuming. It's not like hunting where you go out, you're gone for a few hours in the morning and you come home. It is extremely time consuming. It's also very expensive. So when
Hunter, but I guess you could argue that hunting is probably pretty expensive. And I don't know if you ask my wife whether she'd rather me do this or hunting, I think she would say this. But like I
well,
said, we're just getting started. So
I will tell you that I hunt a little bit, and I spend way more money on Christmas lights than I do on hunting.
there you go. So,
Way more, way more. And I'm a bad shot too, so I got to throw extra shots down in order to hit something. So I'm wasting bullets, and it's still a lot cheaper. However, because you kind of get a gun and you're kind of set, and I mean you always are buying more, but anyway,
yeah,
uh, uh, it got me to the point where to have the most success in this hobby, meaning the least stress, the most success long term, it's to get your family involved, your wife, your kids, having them part of the team, and that's what I'm hoping you and I can chat about that a little bit tonight.
yeah, no, that'd be great. Like I said, like you said, it's my first time ever, and I've lit pixels on my desk. That's about as far as I've made it. Sequenced a song in X lights, and with my daughter Claire, who's 6, and she was all about it. She was taking, she's fighting me for the mouse, trying to, like, I'm trying to do something. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm clicking on things and dragging things here and moving things, messing things up, and she's fighting me for it. She's like, well, Dad, what if we try here's one I haven't seen. I haven't seen this sparkle. So, we drag the sparkle down, and we're kind of discovering it at the same time. You know, if we were to both work on it for, the next year, she would by far, learn more than I could, because she's just so open to, she doesn't really care to mess up, and that's, I feel like as I get old, it's always like, well, you want things to be perfect, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and it's like, well, but you just that you have to You have to just try things, and it's
Mhm.
not going to work the first time. And where you go from there and try again, and you realize, wow, yeah, that was pretty stupid. I shouldn't have done it that way. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's and that's what kids are so great about. They're just sponges in this stuff.
definitely, definitely. I mean, I immediately when she and I guess I hadn't really thought how she was going to take it or not. I mean, I assumed she would think it's cool. I mean, who wouldn't look at a computer and you're sequencing all these lights and having things move around, and what kid wouldn't think that's cool? But in my mind immediately I went, well, maybe one day I will just build and set them up, and they can help with that too. But and like she could just be my sequencer. I wouldn't even have to do it. Now I enjoy that. I can see where I would enjoy that part too. But as far as like a team goes, yeah, that'd be pretty cool to say that. Well, I just put it together, and what you see as far as what happens with the music, that's all my daughter, and she's 8 years old. So that just seems pretty awesome to me. But
That is both a good story, to your audience, to the people that seeing this, as well as it is a great way to get your family together in this.
right.
And do this together as a team, as a family, building that relationship with her. Um, so what was her experience so far in it? Do you think that does she just like dive right in and she's like, Daddy, I want to do this. Is she spend any more time playing with it?
Oh yeah, we probably put in 10 hour. I did probably 10 hours with our first sequence, and we're done, and it's pretty cool. I mean, for never messing with anything and just starting to mess with it, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, in a couple of years, I'll look back and go, well, that's pretty, whatever, blah blah blah. But it's kind of like it's your first one, so you probably always, as with anything, you always remember that first, like, getting your feet wet. And man, I didn't know shit when I was doing that, but look, it came out pretty cool. So, and yeah, she's already like, well, we could do Five Little Pumpkins. And I have a 3-year-old son, Luke, as well. And she's like, Luke would really like if we did Five Little Pumpkins for Halloween. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to have to do Five Little Pumpkins. And, it just so happened that I had set up 5 spinners in my sequence. And I thought, well, I mean, I don't know what we'll do, but I'm sure we can make that, we can make that work. So,
Hmm.
so she's got big ideas, which is good because, it's going to push me to try to learn to be able to, guide us in the right direction as far as what we're doing with our show. Um, yeah, no, it's awesome. We'll watch it, and she wants to show everybody. Grandma comes over and she's like, "Hey, come in here, look at our lights." And she'll say, "Now I did that part, and that's mommy's favorite part, and dad picked that, but then I showed him this." And it's great to see them find something they enjoy and that you enjoy as well. Is that's as much time as you're going to spend doing something like this, at least you're spending that time together. Is kind of how I look at it. So, or you
Exactly. You're by doing it together as a family, you're adding quality time together rather than you being out sequencing or out building or something all by yourself and taking away that time. So it's just such a great experience. Now, what does your wife think?
she she thinks I'm a little nuts, obviously. She's
Okay, that's a given. We're all used to that.
you know she and some of my other hobbies, she already knows that, what I've gotten into previously. But yeah, I think she's going to enjoy it. When we were showing her the sequence that we had made, and the fact that it was Claire and I working on it together, she saw the collectiveness of what we were doing, and how cool it's going to be. Now, try not to blow the budget, obviously, but that's, I'm sure that happens to everybody a little bit. But, you've got a plan of what you're going to spend and what you're going to build and what you're going to do. And then tonight, as I told her I was coming in here she's like, what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be on a podcast in this lighting group that I just joined. And we just light, people, pixel lights and Christmas displays. And she's like, well, so are we going to have a mega tree next year? And I'm like, well, I mean, I hadn't planned on it. It wasn't in the budget, but I mean, if you're already thinking that, then I guess I guess I'll have to try to figure that out. I don't know. So I think she's coming around pretty
Good,
quickly.
good. Well, I tell you what, keep her away from my wife because my wife is a problem with this.
Really?
Most wives are a control valve. They say, "Okay, that's enough," or "Oh, uh, you spent enough money on this year," or "Okay, enough is enough," whatever. My wife is like, "The show doesn't start for 2 more days. You can add more. You can put more up. You can build something else."
Sure, I can. How
Um,
much sleep am I going to get in the next 2 days? Yeah.
yeah, so uh, definitely, if your wife acts like a little bit of a control valve, don't look at that as a bad thing. My wife
No,
is an instigator. She's a problem.
right. Yeah, no, I can totally understand that. We've been married 9 years plus, so we get each other pretty well, and we get along, and there's a give and take, and we know what we're spending on pretty much everything. I'm a civil engineer, is what I do for a living, and she makes fun of my online spreadsheet that we share that has every dollar we've spent for the last 10 years. If I want to look at my electric bill from 2013 in May, I can go back and I can pull that up, and we can be on at the same time, and you'll see our cells. Like, she's highlighting this cell, and I'm over here messing with this. I'm like, oh, what are we going to do next month? Blah, blah, blah. So she understands a little bit actually, she understands a lot of the craziness of just how I am in general. So I already have that. I already have that going. If I've kind of paved the road into this
You
light hobby.
slowly worked her up to your
I,
craziness.
I did. I couldn't just throw it all at her. But I mean,
Now, what does she do for a living?
she works at the university here in Carbondale.
Okay.
She was an event coordinator for one of the. Let's see what. I'm not sure how much information. I mean, I share information as
No,
far as
no, you
the,
don't have to share anything you don't want to.
yeah, Paul
Um,
Simon Policy Institute, but
so
and now she works in the foundation where they raise money for the school and have donors, and they have a list of donors that they talk to a lot, and then basically money coming in, fundraising for the school.
is it fair to say that she's a very social person?
Um, her and
He,
I
and here's the reason I asked that. And so this might, if I explain a little bit, that might. Um, my wife and my kids, um, they embrace the fact that we are the crazy Christmas house. My kids have shared stories of they were in first grade and we're in a small little town, and one of the things, or in kindergarten maybe it was, one of the things you have to do is you have to show that you have memorized your address. And my kids' response was, I don't need to know my address. I just say I'm the Christmas lighthouse. And my wife has equally embraced that, right? That she's embraced that we're this crazy Christmas family, and she's a part of it. And so she is social, and she shares that, and she's always talking about our lights and all that other stuff. And so that's why I asked, because that's one of the roles that, yeah, you might find if your wife really embraces this. That's one of the things you might find, that she's a social aspect of the lights. You
right.
might be the technical side, and she can be the social side.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that happening. She's very good at relating to people, and super professional, and not to say that I'm not professional in my job, but of the two of us, if one of us had to meet someone really important, she would definitely be our representative as a family, not me. But if you want the like quirky, weird, introverted, like nerd side of things, that's me. But you get a couple beers in me, and then I'll talk to anybody after that. So
And then you fit in with all of us.
and then it doesn't. So
we're all a bunch of deviant children here.
it really just once the defenses are down, that it's all good from there. So.
See, my wife doesn't do a whole lot of going out in the yard and helping me build something, but she's the first one to take a photo of it and post it online of, look what we built.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
yeah, we did that.
yeah, we
Good
did.
job, team. So what's your plans in the future, and what's your idea this year of, as you've kind of got your feet wet a little bit, and what's your plans for keeping your kids involved in that?
You know, I
Do you
I,
have any
I
plans, or are you kind of
well,
winging it?
I mean, this is all. Yeah, I've been kind of winging it. I mean, you know, the packages roll in from Amazon and UPS is at my house, which they already were. My wife is a little bit of an online shopper in general, but you know, hey, Amazon 2-day shipping when it just shows up at your door. But so you know, it's been kind of hot and heavy here, starting off and trying to get things going. And you know, I still have. I mean, like I said, I have a sequence on a computer and I have lights and a controller. Getting those two things to go together are still, you know, still kind of very, very confusing for me, actually. But, you know, I have a feeling that we will get there. And then, you know, as far as like trying to teach your kids that kind of stuff, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. And like you said, they're a sponge. I mean, my wife still doesn't really believe that. She's like, okay, so I see it on the computer, but I don't really understand that it's going to be like, how are you going to get it to the lights outside? And I sit there and I'm like, well, people have done it. I mean, there's a way. I can't explain it to you right now because I don't know. But I think I have some of the pieces involved in getting the lights outside. I haven't hung a light yet, but I you know I have hope. And I figure, you know, right now it's January here, so it's actually been pretty nice this year. But as it warms up and you're outside, you know, hopefully you're then more towards like building props, and you know, if you want to set some things out and actually test them, you can do that. So yeah, just try to really keep the ball rolling as far as. I mean, I think my daughter would sequence songs from now until, you know, Christmas 2025 if I just let her sit in here. They were already in here in the computer earlier tonight, and her and my son were just yelling over the mouse, and they want to play Five Little Pumpkins. They, you know, they want to do 1,000 things, but she's ready for the next song. She's like, you know, we could do. Gosh, I forget what she said, what song she was saying earlier today, but yeah, she's ready to keep going. So I'm gonna keep trying to light that fire as long, especially while we're inside, and I think it's fixing to get a little cold here coming up.
Hmm.
So
Well, then you can, as you're driving around, you're commuting somewhere, turn on Christmas music and get her to be like, yeah, I like this song. I don't like that song. I want to do this. And then they start to visualize as they're listening to the song, they're engaged rather than sitting on a tablet, and uh, not that I was any different when I was a kid. I was probably sitting on a Game Boy or something, but it gets them engaged. And okay, Dad, as this song is playing in my head, I'm thinking about the sequence, and I'm thinking about, okay, I'd make the lights do this and this while this different parts of the song, and it's great way to spend your even commuting time.
right. Yeah, you know, you said the screen time thing. You know, there's varying thoughts on screen time, I guess, for kids. I mean, I look at how much TV I watched as a kid, and I'm like, my God. I mean, hours and hours and hours. Now we didn't have it in our pocket with us, you know, everywhere we went. But
Mm.
you know, I still think there's productive screen time. I mean, I always feel like if they're, you know, there's a little bit of games and stuff like that, but as long as they're learning something. I mean, you know, a lot of professions these days, you stare at a computer all day in general. So just to have a leg up on that at 6 years old, which they, you know, they have a lot more of that in school now. But yeah, I think any time where you're trying to make, you know, you're programming something or you're trying to create something on your own is, you know, your brain's firing and you're working and learning things. You know, will they be useful later? Hard to say, but most likely, you know, you take those skills and can move them on into, you know, something else. So,
Hmm. Exactly. My kids get more than their fair share of, video games and all those stuff that they do, and that's all fine and dandy. And sometimes though it's nice that we found a common bond in the Christmas light stuff where when we want to spend some quality time, it's usually Christmas light related.
yeah. How
Or
old are you?
basketball. I got two boys that are 9 and 7.
9 and 7. Wow, okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
two little boys.
good deal.
So
Yeah,
they're
they're
soon I'll get able into the sequencing side. He's very interested in it, but first I got to get him to put down the Xbox controller and get on the computer.
Yeah, I can understand. There's probably that at some point there will be cooler things than to hang out with their dad in the office, sequencing Christmas lights. But we're gonna ride it as long as we can. And when that day
Exactly.
when that day comes, we'll try to figure something else out.
Yep. Awesome. Well, awesome. I appreciate you very much. You coming on with me. Off top of your head, anything else you want to talk about while we're here?
Oh man, I don't know. Thanks to everybody out there and in the think tank for all the help. I posted a couple things, just and everybody. Not to say that you always post something and you feel like you lead off with, "Hey, I'm an idiot. Don't make fun of me. This is a stupid question. I newbie here, blah blah." And I haven't seen any negative responses from anybody. I don't think you really need to lead in with that. No, I don't think anybody's going to. With the question that you're asking, it's probably fairly apparent to the people who know what they're doing that you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the search tool is great. Use the search tool before you want to throw up a question or anything like that. YouTube, um, Can a Spader Christmas. I'd like to say thanks to
Yeah.
Adam. He does a light show in a town, 30, 40 minutes from me, DuPoint. And he was actually nice enough to let me walk around his display, and he kind of showed me how he lays things out. And I think he was actually the first pixel display that I saw, and definitely the first one I saw in person. And then once the Great Christmas Light Fight started, that of course just sparked my interest even more to see the crazy just crazy displays that people have done. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I
And
appreciate you having me on, and I was a little leery of coming on. I mean, I know jack shit, but to put it frankly, in this hobby, but I'm learning, and I guess I would say to anybody else starting off, there's so much information out there. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you can really pick it up fast and just. I'm always anxious. The things you're anxious for the unknown. Like, well, I don't know how to wire my 12-volt power supply. I've got to get this cord and I've got to do this and I got to do, and then you get it and you watch a 3-minute video and you plug it all in and it works and you're like, and then you immediately just put that worry out of your head and you just move on to the next one. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really one thing at a time. And like I said, I've made it nowhere really, but I feel like I've made some leaps and bounds. And
Yep.
there's
And I will tell you that there's people out there that are sour apples that are always oh gosh, you're such an idiot. If you had to ask that question, you should just quit this hobby now. And don't ever, you will run into those people, and don't let ever people like that discourage you, because for the most part, 99% of people in this are great people.
yeah,
This hobby is no different than any other group of individuals. You got some bad apples. You're gonna have bad apples in every group of any type of hobby or profession. Um, and some groups do a better job of monitoring and controlling that, where there isn't really much negativity, because people know, what, if I'm negative about something, they typically just, they're out. There's no room for that. There's no need for that. And so it's good if you find the right place, the right home where you feel comfortable. I'll tell you too, don't ever feel bad about posting or asking a question, because look at it in these folds, that those, and this isn't just you and I talking, this is also information we're giving to the listeners, to the audience, is that uh, you're asking the question, there very likely is other people that will read this, and you've provided them information too. So they're reading your question, and then they go through and they read the answers, and other people have learned stuff too. The other advice I would stress to you is, what's the phrase? Pay it forward. That right now you're learning and you're all in learning mode. Next year you'll know more, and in return stay active in the community, stay a part of it, and help the next group of new people.
Sure.
You may not have the answer to every question at that point, but you'll have the answer to some.
Right.
And the more active you stay, the more and more you're going to learn. Next thing you're going to know is, the famous people that you were inspired by with, what do I say? The people that you were inspired by on YouTube or something. The Tom George of the world. You said Candace Bader Christmas, Jeff Lacey. Next thing you know, you're going to be sitting at Trans World or Expo having a beer with those guys.
Yeah.
Um, I'll be honest. I never thought in a million years that I would eventually get to a point where those type of guys are on speed dial for me. That we have beer and dinner together, and some of the most famous people that I'd ever be at that point. And it's all just because I've stayed active. And I encourage everyone, be active in the community, because it's what you're going to learn, and the friendships you're going to build are going to be exciting for you.
Yeah, that's great. That's
So
yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, everybody's here to learn something, and I doubt anybody knows it all. There's probably a few out there that know.
there's some people that think they do.
Well, that's true.
That's definitely people that think they do. So
In all walks of life. Yeah.
yep,
So,
yep, and they'll let you know that they know it all. So awesome. Well, we'll call it a night. Thank you very much, Sean, for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. For the audience, I'm sorry this is not your typical Darwin Award. You probably clicked on it like, this isn't funny at all. They're not teasing anyone. But sometimes it's good to switch it up. Sometimes it's good to get on the heartwarming side instead of the punching, stabbing side. So anyway, I want to wish everybody a good day, a good morning, whatever time of the day you're listening to this episode. Take care, be safe, and have a good one. Take care.
see you guys.